everyone. Today we are going to talk about the picture of Dorian Gray. So this is a story with a philosophical trait and interpretation diversely deep. The author and the book have become a classic within literature. This book is considered one of the last works of classic Gothic horror fiction with a strong Faustian theme. It dealt with the artist's movement of the decadence and homosexuality, both of which caused controversy when the book was published. A literature magazine published jointly in London and New York. The Leaping Coats Monthly magazine published in June 1890 the 13th chapter of a novel by Oscar Wilde, The Picture of Dorian Gray. Oscar Wilde was born on 16 October 1854 in Dublin, Ireland, then part of United Kingdom. Okay, he died on 30 November 19 in Paris. Therefore, we are going to talk about the main character. Dorian Gray was a young man who wanted to stay always young with his beautiful face and always handsome. So the thought of growing old and setting his beauty and vitality fade away terrified him. The painter Basil Harbor, an artist fascinated by his special bone, as well as Lord Henry, whose vision of the world category great. The only thing that his world is lies is beauty and the satisfaction of the sense. So also, we're going to talk about the context and the era when this book was written. Was in the reign of Victorian England from 1837 to 1901, also known as the Victorian era, characterized by material prosperity. Capitalism, driving in the 19th century, is promoted in industrial development, but also contribute to social difference and justice. Industrial revolution, the companies knew the prosperity, the commercial activity increased, even that all this also caused the great social difference, where the burghers were very rich and powerful, where the others lived in the complete misery. The literature of this time tried to reflect and exalt the triumph of the bourgeoisie by maintaining the moral code of the time, but there were people again. In this case, Oscar Wilde was the one who set up to challenge that social. So I end with this. The artist is the creator of beautiful things, the artist for the art, Oscar Wilde. So let's continue with my partner, I hope.
Oscar Wilde was also against the restriction of freedom of expression and held the artist solely responsible for what he produced with absolute freedom. The law for the time, when aesthetics replaced ethics, when the sense of beauty is the law that dominates life. It is written in Victorian age, and where materialism reigned, where appearances and wealth and social gatherings were the order of the day. Also, the novel breathed transgression, revelation, provocation, and a long list of attributes that broke with the English conservative tradition. Oscar Wilde emphasized the previous topic, the doppelganger. Victorian age played a huge role in literature. One of the characteristics is the psychodrama Freudian that freak out the main character, obliging her to face her deepest fear, turning then out external and objective figure. In this case, Oscar Wilde explores man's bipartition between a socially acceptable self and an aberrant self, which is connoted in the book from the sexual point of view. In this book, there are two main movements of the time. The first movement was literary realism. Is a tendency that was born as a reaction to the fantasies and idealism of romanticism, and which had its peak between 1850 and 1870. The second movement is modernism, literary trend of the late 19th and early 20th centuries, emerged as a reaction against vulgar truth and the careless form of realism. He sought, and therefore, the expression of beauty through the use of refined, new and rare forms. Oscar Wilde lived in the final time of the modern age, where realism reached its upper development at the end of the 19th century, which reflected a change in society. At the same time, Napoleon's hegemonic danger has disappeared, but a concept was adopted and an analysis of it was made. Some concerns arose for the man, the society and political position, which aimed at criticizing the privileged people and class prejudice in British society, and to study in a certain way the people's psychology and physiology behavior. The author scandalized England's society by making public his sexual orientation. I really love of Oscar Wilde because Wilde's writing ways, and he used magical words, detail in his descriptions. Also, the lectures are beauty and ugliness, life, good and evil, love are exquisite. Also, for many people, his book are considered somewhat hurtful or immoral. Besides, a curse is something that reminds us that there is not enough money to buy happiness, and that beauty disappears, letting our soul be exposed. In conclusion, a classical novel with two characters that are fascinated. In that case, Dorian Gray and Lord Henry. I think that the dialogue are the most attractive, with a masterful psychological and physiological background. And the time decadence, pleasures and aesthetics are the backdrops of this great masterpiece. And the strength of his creation is in that world full of cynicism are beauty that White wonderfully narrates. Okay, guys, thank you